What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, excuse the voice. It got a little nippy the other night, and I didn't have a jacket. Simple things, right? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Expedition 33. I have not. What is it? Clair Obscures. I forgot the prefix, suffix, the main fix. It's doing good as far as Metacritics. I haven't heard anything bad about that game. Now, I know it's a multi-plat game, but also it's on Gamepass. And now, a lot of people, especially D-Batch, because he's a dumbass. I thought he was a smart dude, but he is, I don't want to say dangerous. He kind of is dangerous for the uninitiated, but he's the type of donkey unicorn, I'm going to call him that has knowledge of PC stuff. A little bit here and there, right? But he's not, he's a donkey unicorn. So in his mind, it's like, oh, well, that, power, that's all that matters. And now he's on this anti-Game Pass campaign or something. And so I'm like, y'all keep talking about Game Pass is cannibalizing sales, right? While that is true, you negate the other part where Game Pass makes concurrent money every month. Every month they have guaranteed money as opposed to a one-time sale. Now, think about it like this. Think of this analogy where you have I don't know, what do you want to call it? You have a product. You have a house. You're selling the house, right? You're saying, yo, I'm going to sell this house. Boom, boom, boom. Get paid, right? Cool. That's what you could do, right? You sell a house, get paid. You get another house. You sell a house, you get paid. The cycle continues. Or you buy an apartment building, a condominium, if you will, and you rent out all the units. Every month you get in thousands upon thousands of dollars per unit for your whole place that you've bought. You've bought this thing, right? Bought and paid for, but you're not selling each condo unit once. You're renting it out every month. That's the difference between how you build wealth and how you just get some money quick. It's a total difference in philosophy as far as making money. And for a company and corporation like Microsoft, who is big, and they need to make money, that long money that keeps on coming, Game Pass is perfect. I will guarantee you that Sony wishes they made up Game Pass. They wishes that they had what Game Pass is today, because they would be making that money every month. What did they bring in? Last count I had was like $7 billion. Let's just cut that in half. Let's just say $4 billion, right? Then I heard that they were spending, I think, $1 billion on, if you want to call them acquisitions for Game Pass. It's just like, yo, we're going to give you some money. You put it on Game Pass. So that is an acquisition for Game Pass. Let's call it that. They're making billions of dollars. No, I'm sorry. That's not a month. I think that's a yearly. I believe that's a yearly. Is that a month? I don't even see. I can't remember now. But the point is, they're making money, reoccurring income. It is not just a one-shot deal. You know, you have this reoccurring income, the passive income that Game Pass provides. Now, PlayStation has PS Plus, but come on, son, it's nothing compared to Game Pass, because, I mean, if you want to talk about the concurrent MAUs, right? Microsoft it's over 500 million. So if you want to do the math and you want to add up between Microsoft, the Office and all, I mean, this is for Microsoft as a whole, not just Xbox. And that's the difference also between Sony and Microsoft, or PlayStation and Xbox. Sony doesn't have a system and services set up like Microsoft that is multi-tier and it's also multi-product. Microsoft has Windows, which is not a reoccurring thing, but they have Office 365, whatever, all the other things you pay, a little monthly thing for in Game Pass. And I think the idea of Game Pass, that Phil's idea of Game Pass, I don't know if I think it was his idea, but whatever. It kind of grew from like the Microsoft 365 things, like I think it was Office at first, Office 365. I think it's still called, I can't remember what, I think it just might be Microsoft. But you look at that and it's like, oh snap, okay, this is how they're making money. And not to be like, not reductionist, but it's like, this is how the giant corporation stays alive. And also, since this is Xbox, Game Pass, PC, the gaming section, that means, guess what? Games will be around. Guess what? They can have more money to give to these studios to be on Game Pass. So the difference, this is why Game Pass is superior to anything that PlayStation is doing right now. Because Microsoft, as of late, I think the last thing that they did that was exclusive like that, I can't remember what game was it. I think it was a Game Pass game. But they don't, this is what they don't usually do. They don't usually stop third-party games from being exclusive, usually, right? The play now is to just have it on Game Pass. And so the choice is yours, as Black Sheep once said. And that goes with the actual ad campaign. You can get with this, you can get with that. But you put out like Claire, obscure Expedition 33. Like, it's, what is it, $50 or something like that? $40, 50, but whatever it is. And I think it's 40. And might be 50. Anyway, it's not 80. Mario Kart World. So you put it all out there. You say, hey, consumer, $20 a month. $50 one time, blah, 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 blah. How long is the game? 60 hours. That's pretty good. I'll pay, Some people are like, yeah, I want to own it and I'll pay it. Is it all on the disc? Who knows? I don't know. Is there a disc? I don't even know that. It might just be digital at this point. Maybe down the line there'll be a collector's edition. And that's the whole thing. I went through that. The collector's edition thing. If you want to do collector's edition and have physical copies, that's fine. And that's for collectors. And people will buy that. But just regular okie doke. People don't go out to buy DVDs anymore, mainly because Walmart sells them, but it's not a huge market. I mean, they're cheap to produce, and some people do want physical discs. Like me, I was watching, I was out of town, maybe a little bit on that later. And we were watching on the TV, they were playing The Hobbit 1 and 2. And those movies like 1,000 hours long. You just put them on and like turn down the sound, just had the images. And it was a horrible TV, it was garbage. But I was like, oh, do I have those? I don't even know if I have those movies on DVD. I probably do have them on DVD, but I would like to have them on Blu-ray, better quality, you know what I'm saying? So I get that 4K-ness. So I might go and find them and scoop them up real quick, just to be like, let me throw them in real quick. Because I did like Decimation of Smaug. I like Cumberbucks. Benedict Cumberbatch's performance in that. He got a good voice. He got a good deep voice. But anyway, the difference between buying outright and then they call it renting, but I'm gonna say it's a subscription service. Okay. Do you say, oh, Netflix is a rental service? You say it's a sub. It's a subscription service. Just like Spotify. Are you renting songs? It's Spotify. You pay and you just play whatever you want. It's a different type of mentality. Like young kids today, I guess millennials and up, not even alphas definitely. They don't know what renting a game means. They don't know what renting movies mean. That doesn't. And even when you go on to like Prime and it says buy or rent, I'm like, what rent? What is that? It's not on. I'll wait. Like who? And like I said, some people will buy digitally, but there's a danger to that because that's not guaranteed forever in your possession because they have the technology and ability to just go in and delete your bought product because Sony has done it already before because they full of shit. So, Game Pass is, once again, people have been saying this for years and it's still true, the best deal in gaming. And with all these, look, these games are piling up. I haven't even finished Avowed. I finished South of Midnight, dope. I'm about to jump into Expedition 33. I'm gonna go back to Avowed. I'm definitely finishing that. And then Fallout, I mean not Fallout, Oblivion came out. I didn't even touch that yet, man. So it's like all these games, long games, I'm gonna go in. And it's like, it's a no-brainer. And like, look, y'all donkey unicorns, y'all ponies could cry and salt out, tear out all of the little things you got to say and say we brokies and all that. But if you want to be real, the wealthy people in America and the world do not waste their money on bullshit. I'm just saying. And what y'all are doing, what you doing by supporting PlayStation is bullshit. Let me give you the European version, because they are raising prices and they taking games away. They're literally devaluing the thing that they are charging you extra for. They said, you know what, let's raise the price and let's make it worse. And y'all are like, oh yeah, baby daddy, come on. You just bend over and like, and you're like, it's like the Diddy tape all over. Sorry, I heard it once and I was like, damn. Once you hear it, it's like something you can't erase from your brain. And so I'm forever a changed person because I also saw a picture. Okay, we're not going there. Anyway, D-Batch fell so fast from, I don't want to say grace, because I don't think he's ever been graceful, but he could have been like on the level of like a Digital Foundry. He could have been the Canadian, Jamaican, I don't know if he's Jamaican. Could have been the black Canadian Digital Foundry dude. He could have had some smart people come around him. Yo, let's make it like Digital Foundry, but better, because we're Canada. He could have done that. He had the momentum, but he turned into a donkey unicorn, and now he looks like an idiot because he's saying stupid things on Twitter. I'm sorry. Started to say X, but you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother thing. So I'm like what wasted potential? You could have been something. Now you're just a clown. You got really big blue clown shoes on right now. Everybody's laughing at you. And you're like, I don't care, man. I don't care. You guys don't understand. You guys need vaginas. You guys need, a girlfriend. You don't have girlfriends. Come on, man. You don't understand. That's my D-Batch. What? It's not good. It's not good. I just tried it today. That's the first time I actually tried it. That's the first time I tried it. Because I keep hearing Dirt's version. But Dirt, I'm going to give props to Dirt, Sean, all of y'all. Actually, I want to shout out Joey. Panama 6, 7, 8. They keep changing. The number keep changing. I don't know. They recruiting and firing. I don't know what's going on over there. I have plans to go to Panama in the not so distant future, maybe. So I don't know if we ever connect online. Maybe we could meet up somewhere in your home turf. We'll see. Maybe I'll be the Panama 10. I'll be the 10th member, like the Beatles, the 5th member. You know what I'm saying? But I know I probably gotta buy like a Switch or something. But I'll do it. Just for Joey, because, that's the initiation. They got to jump you in and be like, yo, you got a Switch? No tengo una Switch. I said that wrong. Sorry. My Spanish is real bad, as you could tell. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's that. And then there's another thing. I guess I'll include it with this video. Tangent, but not really. But yes, really. It's just bad news for Sony. One of the writers on the, I believe it was the game, or was it a movie? I think it was the game. It was the game. What the heck was it called? Until Dawn. Didn't really get shined. Now, what they're arguing about and what they're complaining about is that they work for Sony as a writer on this game. I mean, I guess they work for the studio that is owned by Sony or something like that. I guess I don't actually know the actual hierarchy of that stuff, if the studio was owned or if it was like a work for hire, but whatever. Regardless, I believe Sony owns the IP and they're employed by Sony, blah, blah, blah. So, in essence, shortly, the whatever work that person does under the employment of Sony is not their own, it is Sony's. Now, back in the day, Activision was under Atari. And the same thing happened, basically. And so Activision make a Pitfall, blah, 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 right? And the creator, it's like usually one dude making the game, right? He ain't get no credit. It was just Atari was just like, yeah, Atari, blah blah blah, and all these people were making these games, and they were like, yo, and Activision stepped up and said, yo, we gonna shout out our peoples, and so it was David Crane who actually made Pitfall. I can't remember, but they started putting the names of the actual creators of the games because the creators were the people who made the whole game, art, code, all that stuff, and so they started that, and they kind of started that, and then Activision kind of broke off and blah blah blah. Right, the rest is history. And so that happened 40 something years ago. And it's still happening today with PlayStation. Now, I had no idea who wrote Until Dawn. And the reason why this is coming up is because they made a movie, Until Dawn movie. I think it came out, or I think they're finished or whatever. But I mean, I don't think anybody saw it if it did come out. And within the credits of the movie, they did not credit the original writers of the game. Now, I don't know if they contributed. I mean, of course they had to with like story and stuff because it's similar to the game. But they didn't. They just said, I think it was like a Sony game production or something. Like generally speaking, like not giving the individual writers or screenwriter or the story people credit. And I was like, that's kind of messed up. You see how this like behavior, it's not even against like Xbox. It's like their own employees. They're treating them like shite. And I'm like, how can you defend a corporation that is treating their people like this? Yeah. I hope she gets her due. I hope she sues them, gets a little something. Because even like they compared it to Neil Druckmann, right? Like when Neil Druckmann was making Uncharted, well, not Uncharted, when he was making Last of Us, or Last of Us 2 especially, because he took control of it totally. He kicked out Amy Hennig. Like, I know these names. How do I know Amy Hennig's name? How do I know Neil Druckmann's name? There was no movie at that point. It was the game, right? And so they needed, I guess, a head person to talk about the game, to market it, right? So they used the director, Neil Druckmann, right? Amy Hennig. She was a part of many successful games in the past. So why didn't they do the same for Until Dawn? That's my question, A. And why not give a little shot? Like, all it needs to have is like one behind the scenes short and say, hello, I'm Louise Drothermeyer. I don't know what her name is. And I'm the director and writer and blah, blah, blah of Until Dawn. Thanks for showing a little 5-minute video. That's all you need. What is that? That's $20. I can do that on my phone. Let's go, boop, beep, boop. But no, Sony's too cheap, or they're too into themselves, or maybe it's company culture, where it's the company over the individuals. These problems within like these giant corporations are they're problems. Now, Microsoft is a way bigger corporation than Sony, so they have hundreds of thousands of people working for them, right? You can't expect to know every single person who does every single thing, but they do a good job of doing BTS stuff behind the scenes. And you say, oh, who's Jason Ronald? We would have never known who Jason Ronald is, but I'll give credit to Sony that Mark Cerny name came up. But the difference is Mark Cerny's been in the industry forever. He was like the man at Sega. The reason why Sega got good with all the Mickey Mouse game, with all the crazy scrolling and the whole different line, they had I believe there was 2 backgrounds on the Genesis, right? You had the background layer, 2 background layers, a sprite layer, and something else I can't remember. And they managed to do some crazy parallax scrolling and crazy effects like 3D. I'm like, yo, how did you figure out to do software 3D on the Genesis? Because when it first came out, nope. And they actually figured out how to do software scaling on the Genesis. Eventually, like in the 90s when the 32X and everything else started coming out and they started to go down. And that was all Mark Cerny. Mark Cerny was the brains behind all of that technical stuff. And so, as much as I make fun of Mark Cerny, but I give him his props. He's smart, but he was allowed to go buck wild, or he was allowed to stretch his creative kind of ingenuity with the Genesis back in Mega Drive, whatever. Back in the day, I mean, Sega was about innovation in hardware. Their arcade games were second to none. They were the best. But Sony's not that. Sony fell from grace. It has been a gradual fall. They've been falling down the hill, and they still falling like ooh, my shoe, ooh, right? For years they've been doing that. Ever since the end of the PlayStation 4, they've been falling down, and they have not done anything to course correct, to stop. And so they're on the same trajectory, and they're dragging down Mark Cerny with them because it's all about money. I mean, obviously, to all these corporations, it's all about money. But at this point, it's really all about money for Sony, and that's why you see their remakes, hot trash garbage, and then you see Microsoft's remakes, the best. People are like, yo, this is how remakes are done. And then, and the funny thing is, I said this last video, they did it right before, like with Shadow of Colossus and Demon Souls, not Demon Souls. Yeah, Demon Souls. And they did it right, because that's essentially what they did. Well, I guess Oblivion did a little bit more. Because, I mean, let's be real, they needed to. But still, they can do it. But it's about that money. And so when you look at Days Gone Remastered, or whatever they're calling it, that is the cheapest, low budgetest, non-giving a shite about your customer type of remaster that you can do. Because all they did was slap it on the PlayStation 5 and turn up the horsepowers for probably the resolution. Resolution is probably higher. Frames maybe probably a little bit higher or something like that. Maybe the foliage is a little bit denser. That's it. I look at the side by side. I'm like, look, I'm not being hyperbolic or anything, but they look exactly. The difference was the color grading was different. I think the new one had a little less green. It had a little bit of blue mixed with the green, but the old one was more green. But yeah, they're really not. They have messed up so bad this generation. They had the momentum. Excuse me. They had the momentum. They had the people behind them. They had the zeitgeist. They had all that stuff going for them. All they had to do was be smart and keep it going, if you will. Shoot, there are so many. This is what I want. This will never happen, but this is what I want. I want Colin Moriarty to do an in-depth psychoanalytical breakdown of the descent and fall and failure of PlayStation this generation, from the end of the PlayStation 4, so PlayStation 5, all the way down to current day. I would say even to the PlayStation 6, or even the next Xbox. When the next Xbox comes out and destroys PlayStation, I mean, we'll see. That's a possibility. So I want Colin to do that, because if he can sit here and be like, oh, Icarus fell just like Icarus, blah, 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 wings made of wax and booger snots. I'm like, listen, you could be creatively writing all the stuff, but you need to critique Sony like that. How you did that. A nice 20, 30-minute talk about how PlayStation's descent into darkness has led to all the CEOs being fired, Japan taking over once again. They're chasing trends and failing at every attempt to chase and capitalize on these trends. Listen, I mean, I knew this from the PlayStation. When they made MAG, and I was like, Massive Action Game. That's a dumb title. MAG, but make a better acronym. Like Militarized Agenda Gangsters. Even that's better. And that has no meaning and it's dumb, doesn't make any sense. Still better than Massive Action Game. Listen, you have to be creative and you have to not take yourself so seriously. And I think Sony definitely takes themselves too seriously. PlayStation definitely takes themselves too seriously. Neil Druckmann definitely takes himself too seriously. I don't even want to talk about The Last of Us season 2. I think I did a little bit, but I'm like, look, the game was bad. Now the series is bad. You're going to see a drop off. And they're like, oh, season 2, it's going to be 2 seasons for the second game. Like, yeah, I hope you get to this 3rd season, because it don't look like you're going to get there, because without Mr. Fantastic, nobody want to watch that. Nobody want to watch Bella Ramsey. And now I don't appreciate everybody making fun of Bella Ramsey and stuff. She's an actor. They hired her, blah, blah, blah. Now, they did show an actor. Actually, I've heard this. I know, we're going into it. That the actor that's playing Abby looks more like Ellie, and I was like, yeah, they should have maybe. That might have been but whatever. That's I guess she was in Hereditary, right? When she was a little bit younger. I never saw that movie. I heard it was really good. So, but anyway, listen. The bottom line is, I want Microsoft to maintain. I want them. I need Phil Spencer to like. He's like close to 60, maybe early 60s, maybe. I don't know how old he is. Maybe he's 60. I want him to work another 20. I know it's selfish. She's not going to work another 20. 15. Give me 15. Phil, give us another 15. All right, give us another 2 generations. Like the next gen and then the next gen. And then we're like, all right, Phil, you know, I mean, you've already done more than enough. And I hope you're grooming Sarah. I hope you're grooming Matt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it seems like they're not any weak points. Honestly, I'm going to be real quick. The game studio side, what Matt's doing, yo, if that's like all Matt, where he's like, yo, I want that game, I want that Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. Now, as far as like Matt goes, he's probably like, nah, man, exclusive. And if it was like, hey, heal, Matthew. He's like, all right, you the boss. All right now. Don't make me get out all right now. Don't make me get out the shot collar. All right. Like, all right. And so he's going along with it because whatever. He's getting paid and he's doing his duck dizzle. And the beauty of that, right? If like Phil's doing this and maybe everybody isn't like really with him, but they're seeing how it's working. They like, because Phil, I don't know what it is, but he understands like, yo, we're not going to get these people to buy Xboxes. We're not going to do it. We could try and do what Sony does and pay attention. Look where Sony is right now. Why would you want to follow that model of business? Why would you want to follow that business model? Like, yeah, Sony is, wait, they're the market leader? Are they really? Or are they conning us? Because they haven't really given us sales numbers. They're giving us manufacturing numbers. So whatever, you take it with a grain of salt. But I'm like, you see what's happening with Game Pass. You see what's happening with Xbox. You see that they're about to put out some more consoles. And if they play their cards right, and they have a Game Pass console, if you will, a little handheld Game Pass console that's like, oh, it's a Switch, but it has this thing called Game Pass, and you just buy it, and it comes with Game Pass, and you get 500 games already, and they're expanding their different services like Play Anywhere and all the games that you bought you can stream. It's like they're doing so many different things on so many different levels that are improving the quality of the services they're providing, and Sony is doing the opposite. They're charging more and they're taking away services. They're taking away value. And just keep watching. Keep being a Donkey Unicorn D-Batch. I'm gonna shout you out. My name is not Boom. So I'll throw you under the bus, and I'll go forward and I'll go backward, and I'll forward and backward and forward and backward until the job is done. Because y'all fools need to learn. You may know about RAM, you may know about CPU cycles and tensor cores and all that stuff, but you're a Donkey Unicorn, and so you don't have common sense. You don't have the business sense to say, well, I mean, they're doing something good because people like it and people are saying this and that and the third. And while sales are being cannibalized, games like Expedition 33 are succeeding. 3 days, they got 1 million sales already. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because if a game is good enough, for me, like if I have Game Pass, right? I got Game Pass Ultimate. I barely play it on PC. Occasionally, I'm like, oh, I think I tried Forza 4 one time. My PC was not up to the challenge, so it was like, but it was cool. But guys like me who have Game Pass will, if the game is good enough, buy the game, because there's still like there's no guarantee that the game will be in Game Pass forever. And I mean, obviously, there's no real guarantee that we will have the ability to play that game, the digital game, forever, because it's a license agreement. It's not so much you have the digital code and it's on your hard drive and forever and we can't take it off. No, that's not how it works. So all these idiots that are talking about, I buy my games, I support the devs. Y'all are dumb. Y'all are idiots. I'm gonna stop being, it's war. It's war out here, guys. You know, what the frick, man? I'm sorry, that was a mix between Jimmy Neutron and Doodoo Jenkins? No, I'm sorry, Doodoo Jenkins. I didn't mean to disrespect you. Doodoo Batch? I don't know. No, anyway. But yeah, I'm sorry. I went long this time. I appreciate you hanging out, showing this line, like and subscribe. Hit me in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Expedition 33 destroying, even though it came out on the same day as Oblivion, still selling millions of copies. Still, there's room for different, you know, and people try to, oh, Game Pass. They can't do it. They can't do it. They can't deny the greatness. They're still awaiting greatness over there on PlayStation. Meanwhile, we already got it. We got it in spades. We have so much greatness that it's like it's greatness overload. My belly is full, and I still got 2 courses left. Man, it's a good time to be a Xbox gamer. It's an awesome time to have Game Pass. So go get it and play some games. All right, y'all. I preach. I'll talk to y'all next time. Wait.